Hello, my name is Lisbeth Ayala, and my group and I did our lesson plan on the Great Chicago Fire, which took place in October 8th through the 10th in 1871. Our lesson plan is for fifth grade. It'll be a social studies lesson. One of the reasons why we picked this topic was because we all believe that it was very important to teach this topic to students, especially because we're from Chicago, and a lot of things happened because of this event, which led to the city to make some big changes. So we will also be integrating technology in this lesson plan. So technology and computer programs needed. We will be using Google Earth in order to teach this lesson. We will be showing students pictures of the Chicago fire and where the fire burned throughout the city. As you can see in this image right here, this was before the fire. And then we will also be showing maps of where exactly the fire took place. The materials we will be using for this lesson, like I said, we will be using pictures before the fire, after the fire, maps of the fire. Students will use computers, laptops. They will need Google Earth access, access to the internet for research. We will also be using a graphic organizer. It'll be a Great Chicago Fire worksheet where students will fill out the cause and effect. Students will need paper, pencil, or pen, and we will also need a widescreen projector or Elmo document camera in order to display like the images, visuals, demonstrations that we will be using for the lesson. Now over here, we have the Google Earth path of the fire, which we will be using in order to demonstrate students where exactly where the fire took place, what areas in the city. We will be showing like the starting point and up to where it led. Um, this will also give students like a visual representation of, you know, of specific areas that changed because of the fire. For example, we talked about how, now we in the city, there's so many fire stations around the city. Like they're located in every like 2 blocks. Normally they're also like near schools too. And this all happened because of the Great Chicago Fire. There's more fire stations now. Also, a lot of streets changed because of the fire as well. And we will also be showing like certain streets, like the Milwaukee Street. That street runs diagonally, and that's because the whole city had to be rebuilt because of the fire. So we will be showing this Google Earth path in order to show students, and the students will also be able to locate certain places, areas that they've probably like been to, and then they will realize, oh, like this is where the Chicago fire took place. And we will also be showing like buildings, before and after the fire. So these are just like, some examples of buildings before and after the fire that we will be showing to students so that they can see, the differences of like, special historic places of the fire. So first, I will begin the lesson by first asking the students if they have heard anything about the Great Chicago Fire. Students will then be able to discuss in groups about what they know about the Chicago Fire, what they've heard of. Then they will share out what they've discussed to the class. Then I will go over the history and demonstrate some of the visuals that we have of the Chicago Fire, before and after images. We will also show the path of the Chicago Fire using Google Earth. Students will then also work on a graphic organizer in pairs where they will be filling out a T-chart of 3 different causes and effects of the Chicago Fire. Students will be using computers slash laptops to do research and complete their graphic organizers in pairs. Then I will be walking around the classroom, answering any questions and making sure that students are on task. I will be using like a checklist in order to write down which students are on task or whatnot. And then at the end of the lesson, each pair will share out a cause and effect of the Chicago fire to the whole class. So this is how the assessment will look. This is just the general worksheet and rubric that we will be using in order to assess students on the material that was taught in the classroom. And this is just, like over here, the worksheet. Students will be filling out this T-chart of some cause and effects. Students will be researching, like, what are some causes that happened and, what affected that lead. Um, Also, this worksheet will also be differentiated for gifted students. For example, they will also fill out this T-chart, but let's say over here for the third one, instead of coming up with another cause, they will have to compare and contrast the two causes and effects. They will have to compare and contrast that for their third box, so that we can give them more challenging work instead of more work. They will get more challenging work. Also for English language learners, I will try to avoid using idioms, also enunciating appropriately, giving them translations, for example, like the meaning of a cause or effects, using translations or definitions of what that means so that they know what they will be researching and doing. Um, Also, like providing like sentence frames will also be like a big help, providing sentence frames for them. Um, for special students with special needs, um, they will be completing the T chart, but instead of filling out the three boxes, they will only have to complete like two of them, you know. They will also be provided with sentence frames if needed, and more help will be given to those students that need it as well. And this is just like the rubric of how we will be grading the worksheet based on every student's learning abilities. Now over here we have the adaptive instruction, and like I mentioned before, in this lesson we will be doing a lot of different ways that we will be doing adaptive instruction for based on each student's learning needs. Like I mentioned earlier, for English learners, we would include phrases in their native languages to help them understand what they need to fill out on the graphic organizer. We will also include pictures to guide them. We will avoid idioms and phrases that may be difficult to understand, clear and simple directions. For SPED students, we would change instruction by reducing the number of sections of work for students to complete. So instead of filling out the three boxes, they will only have to fill out like two. Also providing notes for students' reference. Also including everything on the board for easy direction as well will also be done. And lastly, some assumptions that students may have. A few things students might know about this topic before the lesson would be Catherine O'Leary was milking her cow that kicked the lantern and set the farm on fire. The fire took days to be out. The fire also caused a lot of destruction. O'Leary's barn became the Chicago Fire Academy. The Chicago Fire soccer team is named after the Great Chicago Fire. So these are just a few assumptions that students will bring into the lesson. And they will also be using this as, future for their own reference. They will make connections to certain things that they already know to the lesson's topic. And this will just make the lesson even more interesting and more fun for them as well. We will also, like I said, use a lot of different resources in order to help students understand this lesson. And technology will also be included, which is an important key in order to enhance this lesson as well. And that is it. Thank you so much.